Alright, so we have our 2005 Honda CBR600RR that we're going to change. We're first going to inspect and change the front brakes today. So I took the liberty of setting everything up for us. I've got our 14mm wrench, our 5mm hex key, our flathead screwdriver, some brake lube, and some extra 14mm torque wrenches. We also got our parts here, our replacement brake pads for the front, and some brake cleaner. Alright, so this is our brake assembly. It houses our brake pads and our pistons, and to remove it we just need to remove these two bolts. Each of the two 14mm bolts. This 1, 2, and then these two hex keys, these two Allen bolts hold our brake pads together. So we're going to start the first step in inspecting the pads. Just going to be to remove this assembly from the bike. Alright, so it should come out. Let me use this rag just to try to protect my rim from any scratches, so I don't want to scratch up my rim anymore than it already is. So let's try to ease it out. Alright, as we can see, we're almost down to like the plate. So if you can see that there's barely any more of the material, of the material, the stopping material left. So we're gonna go ahead and change them. So now what we have to do is loosen up these other two bolts to easily remove the brake pads. So we're gonna use our Allen wrench. It's pretty tight. These are probably even stock pads. I bought the bike used, so I don't know when was the last time they changed them. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do it today. Remember, when you use your Allen wrenches, your hex keys, to try to keep them inserted all the way so you don't strip the tool or the hole in the bolt or the actual bolt. I think these should come out easy. So you can see they're really worn. One. This is 2. Alright. So you can see these pistons in here, they're almost out all the way. I'm going to have to push those back after I insert the new pads. So what I'm going to do before I put it all back together and get the new pads on there, so I'm going to spray it with some brake cleaner and just try to get it as clean as possible. Alright, so in order to remove this bracket that holds the brake pads in place, I'm gonna have to push down these pistons. I find it's easy to use a screwdriver and put a towel under in between the screwdriver and the pistons, so you don't damage or scratch anything up. So you gotta just push it down. It's a lot easier to use a screwdriver and a rag than it is to try to do it with your bare hands. Kind of use a screwdriver to press against it. Press against the piston. And that looks like it should come out now. So this is the bracket that holds your brake pads. And if you could get a close-up shot, this is my old brake pad and this is the new one. So you can see a side-by-side comparison. I was almost down to the bare metal, so it's a good thing, you know, we decided to inspect and to replace these, so you can see that. So we're gonna just clean this up a bit more, clean up all the brackets and the actual brake assembly, and then show you how to put it all back together. So I'm just gonna start by putting the caliper slide in first and then just assembling it all back together. So you can start with this. All right. All right. Cool. So you kind of gotta play with the bracket a little bit, kind of get it positioned just right. And whenever putting stuff back together, I always like to start doing it by hand first. You know, just to reduce the possibility of cross-threading any threads or anything like that. I mean, I just do it as a precaution, you know. It's real easy to just strip something and then you got to go and try to find a whole new bolt. So, I mean, it's better to be safe that way. Make sure these are tight. So always tighten them and then give them another quarter turn. These are nice and tight. So you see, my pads are all, you know, assembled in place. Now let's just put them back on the disc and assemble them all back together. So get these. So went back nice and easy, and then our last two 14mm bolts. Just want to have them nice and snug. You always want to make sure you don't over tighten, so I mean nice and snug. And you're supposed to check periodically anyways to make sure all the bolts and all your things are nice and tight on your bike. So hopefully this helped you a little bit just to see, you know, how to work on your brakes and, you know, just keep them clean. And, you know, it's a fairly simple task, but I know sometimes there's just a lot of fear, but you just got to get out there and, you know, just try to get your hands dirty sometimes. So thanks for watching.